The governor's proposed budget would increase state aid to schools, city schools, as well as suburban schools alike.
Joining us now is Deb Kerr, the superintendent for the Brown Deer School District. Thanks for joining us. We talked about this during the commercial break. MPS has unique challenges, but you have all of the same challenges in a suburban school district, don't you?
Absolutely. Being a first-tier suburb of Milwaukee, we have just as much diversity and mobility and poverty that Milwaukee Public Schools has. And so we face similar challenges as they do.
So how do you address those challenges, especially when you talk about poverty? We know that usually with high income performing areas, the students achieve higher. In low income performing areas, they achieve lower. But again, we're talking about Brown Deer, which many people think is a suburb. So how do you address those challenges on the educational front?
Well, with over 70% students of color and 53% students with poverty, it requires an all-hands-on-deck approach. Our community and our school board have been proactive in education for many years. Our teachers are fabulous. They are dedicated. It's a calling to come to Brown Deer and work in our school district.
I've definitely been to one of their high schools. It's a character-building high school. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry about that, George. But I want to know, what do you think about what Governor is saying he wants to do now by giving more money to education?
We couldn't be happier. This is just what we need to take it to the next level of achievement. We've been working hard, just like Milwaukee Public Schools, to eliminate and close the achievement gap. But as you well know, it's a very complicated matter, and it takes lots of different influences and supports to make that happen. So with the increase of pure pupil aid, we couldn't be happier.
And we're just obviously in the early stages. The budget has just been proposed. How optimistic are you that the end result is going to be something you all can work with?
We have to be very optimistic because this is the most support the governor has provided to education in several years. We have taken advantage of all the tools that were afforded to us to make changes, but all schools have incurred increases of inflationary operational costs, increased health care, increased transportation. So we want to give raises to our teachers and our staff who really deserve to have those opportunities.
And you're feeding a lot of your kids, right?
Yes, we are. We have a fabulous summer program, free lunch for our community members and our students. And so this is essential. It's an essential piece of our educational experience for our kids.
Do you have any qualms about how he's spreading the wealth, with some schools getting, even more money that are performing higher than, say, your school district?
We are always going to advocate for what's best for Brown Deer. And yes, because of our increase in poverty and mobility, I would like to see a little more support. But we are happy to see that some of the mental health areas, we're going to have some emphasis by providing more social workers in our schools as we move forward, looking at expanding programs, because that's just what we need with our changing families and student situations.
I asked this question to Dr. Driver a moment ago, but when historically, the governor has been more about cutting costs. Was this a surprise? Was this, I mean, how upbeat were you all when the governor came out and said, we want to spend more money on you?
We were ecstatic. This was just what we needed. The governor has required us to do more with less, and we have. We've been very creative and innovative, and it's about partnerships, and we have extended partnerships to our local businesses, our community, our local universities, and so we're going to continue to move in this direction. Yes, we could always use a little bit more, but we're very happy with the allocation.
What do you think about the performance-based funding? Because that really is saying, okay, put your money where your mouth is and show us that you can deliver. Do you think it's attainable?
I do think it's attainable. I'm all about leveling the playing field, though, and so if that's what is going to be an indicator of our student success, then let us have the flexibility of local control, like, for example, to repeal the September 1st start date. That would give us the same kind of opportunities for our learning that our private schools and charter schools in our Milwaukee area have, and now MPS, too.
Everyone's trying to move.
and we're going to talk to some of the people in the voucher program in just a moment. But is there any resentment about the fact that the voucher schools are, according to at least one legislative report, actually going to end up with more money per student than those of you in the public schools?
I think there's some concern about how it's being funded, and I think what we need to do is be creative. How do we fund the education of all students in our great state of Wisconsin? Not by taking it away from one sector and giving it to another, but how can we come together to partnership to realize some efficiencies and support the education of all students?
Well, Dr. Kerr, we now have to wait for lawmakers to pass a budget so that we can see exactly where all this money will fall. But thank you so much for coming in on our show this morning.
Thank you very much.